What up, everybody? Phillies and who, Mets? What's the score? What's the score? Delaware Valley freaks out 3-1. Yep. Looks like the Phillies could be playing the Mets. A lot of time left there, though. The Mets have that look. Oh, we have so much to talk about tonight. John Marks' spot. Delco Steve is here. My day started with being a little bit late getting out of the door because my daughter was like crying at 4:30. I usually get up about 4:15, depending what I have to do, because I make the kids the lunches. And if one's not packing that day, it makes it a little easier. Sometimes I'm able to do some stuff at night. So I was up at 4:15 because I did some stuff at night. And 4:35 maybe, Bella was upstairs crying daddy. So I'm like, oh, Jesus. So I go, it was a little later than that, 4:40. So I, calm her down, rock her to sleep. She's kind of laying there. It's 4:58. I put her back down. She's just already asleep. Boom, go back downstairs, make coffee, get ready. So I have my backpack on with my coffee, ready to walk out of the house. And she's up there crying again. So I go and I get her. And my wife's like, just bring her into bed. So I bring her in the bed with her. All right, see ya. Go. Before I can make it out of the door, I hear like a boom. It's like, oh, God, did she fall out of bed? What the hell was that? And then I hear Liz is calling for me. John. So I go upstairs. Bella, who's 3 years old, is puking on the bed. A 3-year-old doesn't really know when to tell you I have to throw up or like know what to do. You go to the bathroom, throw up in a trash can or whatever. Just kind of so like I go running in. My wife does not do well with puke, so she's gagging. Luckily, I was still there, so I picked her up real quick. I so if she was going to throw up, she was going to throw up on herself or on me. Got her into the bathroom. She was done throwing up at that point, but yeah. So she dry heaved a couple times through the rest of the day, but she's okay tonight. But anyway, so that's how my day started this morning, which was my daughter throwing up all over the bed. Now, before I leave Delco Steve, before I leave for work, now I got to take all the sheets off of the bed. And there's chunky puke on the sheets. And I already told you my wife can't handle the puke. So rinsing off the bed sheet before you put it in the washer. And there was actually grapes that she looked like half whole because I cut them in 4s anyway. There were grapes that weren't digested that was laying on the bed that I was spraying off the bed sheet, and it was going into the sink, and then you have to get it out of the sink because it doesn't go down the drain. So yes, that's how I said. So I didn't end up leaving till 5:50 this morning, but still made pretty good time getting into the city. What's up, Delco Steve?
Oh, all right, my man. Besides throw up talk.
Good. I'm all right. Did I not? Let me check here. What do I got? No, I don't have the right camera. No, not camera. Sorry. Some of my things went. Yeah, my default went down. That must sound much better.
That sounds better.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, it didn't sound weird. I thought it was the headphones. But yeah, it's been a long day. What's up, dude?
Nothing much, man. It's been enjoying this playoff baseball the last 2 days.
Been good, right? Orioles are out. They got swept.
Orioles swept. Astros swept.
Astros are out. The cut and what is it? The hot teams winning these early series. Isn't it amazing?
It's always like that. I hate this new playoff format.
Which is why everybody's freaking out over the Mets. Why Phillies fans are losing it.
What was it? The last 2 years, Dodgers, Braves, two best teams in the NL. Don't get past the NLDS.
Phillies, D-backs, last 2 years. Yep. Yeah, it doesn't matter at this point. In baseball, 3-game series, that's nothing. It depends. Like the Yankees swept the Phillies at Citizens Bank Park in 3 games. The Phillies were playing like shit. It's like it matters. Like, are you going to be playing like crap when it matters? And last year, they started off the Astros series. They looked great. And then Astros are like, we're not going to throw any more strikes. And the Phillies just were swinging and missing for the rest of the series. So you hope. Honestly, I hope the Mets kind of get this out of their system in this first series, and the Phillies are rested and everything else. Believe me, Delco Steve, I pivoted today on Philly with John Marks this morning. I was high anxiety because I was thinking about it. But I even said, listen,
I said, I got to get over this stuff right now because this is sending the wrong message. We cannot sit here and be wimps as Phillies fans. This is the best team in the National League. All right, the Dodgers maybe have a better record, but you know what I mean. I'll take the Phillies starting. I'll take the Phillies starting
100%.
pitching over anybody. I'll take the Phillies bullpen over the Mets. I'll take the Phillies lineup over the Mets. And they're a good team. And a lot of people are going to be betting the Mets. I think that works in the Phillies' favor. Everybody's going to be talking up the Mets, talking up the Mets, and talking up the Mets. And Zach Wheeler's going to come out in game one, and he's going to throw a gem. And the Mets are going to be like, "Oh man, this isn't the Brewers. This isn't the Atlanta Braves that we were playing at the end of the season." The Phillies have good starting pitching, so I feel good about the series. I am not talking this bullshit into existence with the Mets, the Mets. No way. It ends now.
I'm not talking the Mets into existence. I'm talking I'm trying to talk myself out of the bullshit format out of existence.
I like it though.
I did. It's just I talked myself into a bet with the Tigers and the Astros. I'm like, all right, Scooble game one, they're gonna win that game. So I did Tigers win game one, Astros win the series. As soon as that game happened yesterday, I'm like, oh, this is gonna win. And then Tigers come out today and beat the Astros. Astros are a significantly better team than the Tigers. And it's like, so
not right now.
Padres just tied it up. Let's go.
1-1. There you
go. But like the same thing, we're a significantly better team than the Mets. But they're gonna get 2 days off if they win tonight. They're gonna have their pitching set up the way they wanted to, pretty much for the most part. Like maybe a day or two off. But it's like we're a better team. But it's like we're not. I don't see the advantage that we like. They're gonna have a rest. They're gonna have not as much rest, but they're gonna have significant rest for baseball terms. And they're gonna be coming off the high of, oh, we just beat our rivals to get in. We just won a series in 2 games, and now they're gonna be moving. It's just like where we're gonna be just sitting here for 5 days. Wheeler already says he hates pitching when he doesn't pitch on 5 days. How many days have been since he's pitched?
More than 5.
Yeah.
Stop it.
I don't like
doing for the last 2 weeks. I've been doing this. Stop it.
I don't like the format. The format pisses me off.
It's fine. The format makes things really, really interesting, right? I love it.
But it's like I feel like it hurts the good teams. I feel like it hurts the good teams.
It does. That's good. That's good. Fuck the Astros.
Unless we are one of the good teams, which we are.
But the last 2 years we took advantage of it.
I agree.
Right. But so this year it's like, we're not one of those teams. I agree 100%. Of course it's going to make you a little bit nervous, but man, I don't know. It was like this even in the 5-game series. The Phillies are the best team in baseball. They won over 100 games and they lost in a 5-game series to a very good Cardinals team. The Phillies lost to the Giants team. They were better teams than those teams both of those years during the regular season. It's a shame that 162 games comes down to 2 games in the beginning of October, like they do. But that's what it comes down to. That's baseball, and that's why Seattle Mariners won 116 games. That was the highest win total that I remember being a baseball fan. They didn't make it to the World Series. They were a really good team, but in a playoff matchup, like during that week or whatever, like they didn't win. So let's not talk it into an existence. Zach Wheeler, Chris Sanchez, Aaron Nola. That's what it looks like it's going to be. They're actually going to do what we thought what we think they should do. It sounds like Topper spoke about it today without giving like this is definitely what we're doing. But it seems like Nola's fine with pitching 3. He likes the idea of switching up the righty and the lefty. So righty, lefty, righty, 1, 2, 3. Man, these guys, they haven't really played since when? That National Series really doesn't count.
Nope.
So I don't know. I cannot focus on people like you, Delco Steve, because that was me up until a couple hours ago.
I just don't. My thing is like this is just like it has nothing to do with the Phillies. It's just the sport. It's like you go 162 games and maybe 20 days off throughout the summer. And then all of a sudden here's 5 days and you clinched 4 games earlier. So you didn't play those last 4 games. It's like, it's not football. It's football. You'd be banged up from any little thing. It's like, so
Yeah.
that week off helps while your opponent is getting the shit kicked out of them the
Yep.
week before. Where this, it's like, all right, if you make it through unscathed, you're probably playing, like, you're probably playing on a high than you are coming in like, oh, we shouldn't have won that series. Like, this isn't like, and then to a hockey aspect, it's like you could play like shit, but your goalie could freaking stand on his head and you could win every game 1-0. And it's like, all right, and then you go to the next series and get waxed. It's like because you weren't playing well.
Your goalie builds you up.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just, so it's like, I don't know. I don't like the idea of being off for this many days going into a series.
I mean,
for anybody.
I don't either, but I don't have a choice at this point. Delco Steve.
If Wheeler comes out and wins game 1, all thoughts are back to the positive vibes.
Here's what we've learned. The higher seed in this opening round, this wild card round, if they lose the first game, they're done. Because
my buddy just texted me earlier. It was like 90% win rate for game 2.
You're done because all the pressure is like, holy shit, now you got to win 2 games in a row. And at this point, and I guess it was like this because they had their best starter going in game 1. If these teams are able to line up their starters, they may, like, over the course of a 3-game series, if you have better starting pitching or you're lining up 100%. Your starters a little bit better, you can easily win. The Tigers are a tough matchup right now. Their starters are good.
Scooble's the best pitcher in baseball
by far.
By a mile. So that's why I did what I did for that series. I was like, all right, if they win with Scooble, like, I think the Astros can win 2 games. Like, that was the thought process.
Right.
But I didn't know the stat. I didn't know the stat that it's 90% done in 2 games. Like, that's insane.
Yep. I didn't know that stat either. I knew it was high.
Going into next year, it's just pick a team to win the series and series bet it 2 games. And then, all right, if you pick the wrong team, you just bet the other team game 2 and like, I don't know. That's what I'd be doing.
I was already doing recon. I was trying to get some numbers for potential Mets guests because if they start the series on Saturday, so it'd be Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, I think, or Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I know it's Saturday, Sunday, 4 p.m. Then that means Friday. I don't know if Friday is like they're down here doing a workout or they come down. I guess they'd be down here on Friday, right? The Mets if they win it. But anyway, so these are the numbers I have in my phone right now. I have Keith Hernandez, Doc Gooden, former Philly Nelson Figueroa, who's actually very good on the air, Howie Rose, who's their radio voice, longtime radio voice, and Gary Cohen, who does their TV, their SNY broadcasts. So I got to try to nail one of those guys for hopefully Friday. That'd be great. I don't know. I mean, am I texting Doc Gooden and being like, yo, Doc, what's going on, man?
What's the worst that can happen? He says no. Who cares?
And shout out to my buddy Zach Gelb for some help with some of those numbers. That's what you do now. So I'm thinking like, all right, and that's the other thing, right? Screw this. Oh, the Mets. We don't want to face the Mets. No, this is an amazing matchup. This is an amazing series, and the annoying Mets fans are going to be down here at Citizens Bank Park. Screw them. I'm ready for this.
Mets Brewers was perfect lineup, like setup for us. Avoid the Padres. Let the go play the Dodgers. Like,
let them beat the Dodgers.
Yep. And then you have guaranteed cross country flights for
3-1. Yeah, Pods are up now 3-1. That might be it. Yeah, they're a good team too. The Padres this year again.
Padres pitching is probably the only pitching in the NL that matches ours.
Right. And that lineup has a ton of talent. It was a matter of them coming together. And like Machado's actually been really good since he's been there. He's kind of flown under the radar, if that makes sense. But he hasn't. I mean, so 29 home runs, batted 275 this year, 105 RBIs. That's not a hitter's park. So if he's in one of these bandboxes, he probably hits 35 home runs.
There we go. Here's some more. Jackson Merrill with a double.
Yeah.
5-1. Let's go.
It's over. It's over. So whatever. But anyway, screw the Mets. Bring the Mets on. Yeah. That's what I have to say about that. And we may have to do an emergency show at night before next Wednesday.
So, I'm game for that. Erica will be in the park on Saturday with her friend. So
Really?
at firsthand counting.
Did she get the Phillies lottery? Did she win?
No,
tickets?
her friend's got season tickets. So or
Oh, nice,
what the or
nice.
like the week whatever like the weekend thing or something. I
Well,
don't know. She got
yeah,
something. So
yeah.
she
You
got her
partial
yeah.
partial season ticket.
Yeah. So she's got her seats for the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, partial season tickets were if you're a Phillies fan and you want to see playoff baseball, just get a partial plan. You can sell a lot of those tickets if you want to, and then you can keep the playoffs or you can sell them. I mean, I would definitely, I would love to go to a playoff game, but I didn't win the lottery. I even went and I put my email address in, Delco Steve.
Yeah, I forgot all about it.
I got the email and I did not get it. And you know what I saw afterwards on social media? A lot of complaining. This isn't fair. This isn't fair. Everybody that gets them is going to sell them on StubHub, and I can't afford that. That's not fair. No, a ticket lottery actually is fair. That means that they're selecting people at random, and they're not giving you don't just because you're some fan that wants to go to a game. Tough. I want to go to a game too, right? So does everybody else.
Yeah.
So some people can afford to buy the tickets, some can't. Something tells me you're too cheap to buy the tickets. Whoever's coming up top, it's nauseating. I remember the same thing last year. Oh, this isn't fair. I want the tickets. Like, well, then get season tickets. Then you'll get a ticket to a game.
And you do the work all year of selling the tickets
Sell
to
the
make
tickets then.
Yep.
Yeah. So
my God. What they're cheap in the season. The partial ones are cheap if you get them in like the 400 level or something like that too, right? They're not that bad.
You can get inexpensive. Yeah, you don't have to get the $100 seats.
No.
Where you're sitting 10 rows off. Yeah, you can get Citizens Bank Park. If you go up in even the 200 level, the tickets aren't that expensive and they're good seats, good sight lines. You can see the whole
I don't think there's a bad spot
there.
I don't think there's a bad spot in the park, in all honesty, to actually see the game.
For a playoff game, I would sit anywhere in the park. I would sit all the way up top by the foul pole, sit in the outfield, like the upper outfield seats. I don't care. I don't like standing rooms I can't see.
I was about to say I'll do standing room during like the regular season. Like during the regular season where it's like I don't care about like how much of the game I'm actually watching. But if we were actually just talking about this during dinner. The standing room tickets were like $235, $250 or something like that. And I'm like, yeah, there's no way I'm paying $250 to get in standing room and not be able to see the game for 90% of the time.
Yeah, the year that because the World Series. I saw the comeback in game one. I was at the World Series and I brought my dad and he stayed in the hotel room with me. So I just had to get his flight and I got him a standing room ticket because we all had media passes.
Right.
And we were like, all right, should we get seats? And it was like, nah, I'm not spending. Yeah, it was like $400, $300, whatever it was. So it's like, and the standing rooms kind of sucked. I'm not tall. So I can't see over people. You're with me. I can't see over people. And in that stadium, that the Minute Maid Park, whatever the hell they call it now, it's not a great setup if you have standing room. There's not a lot of spots. Citizens Bank Park has many more spots to where you can actually see the game going on. Right. It was tough to find a spot to see the game going on. And then when we finally found, like I was with my dad, we finally found one and we stayed there for a good 3 innings without moving because we were like right in the front.
I don't think you could ever get me to do a standing room in a stadium that I don't know because it's like I'm just buying it and hoping I figure out a good spot to watch the game. Unless you tell me there's like a designated area for the standing room only people, then
right.
It's like,
well, I watched the majority of that game. It was like I don't know, not directly behind home plate, but it was more towards home plate than first base. And we were standing room. It was similar to how far away it would be if you were at Citizens Bank Park. So you can see. The problem is seeing if you're short. So I'm there with Ike. I'm there with Jack. I think Giulio was there too. Joe Giulio was there, and my dad. And Ike can obviously see over everybody. He's tall. Jack is tall, so he can see over everybody. And then me, my dad's short. We're about the same height. And Giulio's like taller than me, but so I really couldn't see anything. It sucked. So last year when we went to the NLCS in Arizona, if you remember, Phillies won the first 2 games. They were like $8 tickets to get into the park in Arizona for those games. And then when they started winning games, then they weren't $8 anymore. But we were making fun of them. So
Right, because we were saying it was
bought
cheaper
good
to
seats.
fly. It was cheaper to fly out there and buy a ticket to Game 3 than it was to go to any of the Phillies, the home games.
Dude, we were like 10 rows off. And we paid, I think, 20 like in the 20s, $20 to get that ticket. No, it was like great seats. And then for another game, because we waited and then we bought and we shouldn't have waited. We should have just got them. So we paid a little bit more and we were sitting back, still lower level. We were behind. We were like first baseline. Yeah, first baseline. And that's a crappy stadium in Arizona. But anyway, yeah, man, it's going a couple days away. I have my puke bucket at home. I have my puke bucket at PHLY.
This has got a pee on it?
Does not. No, it has a Coors Light on it. Actually, it's like one of the metal, like when you get like when they have the special, they're like, yeah, you get 6 aluminum cans for like $30, and you're like, all right, and they give you the pitch, the big can. I don't know. Anyway,
they're not my thing anymore, but I got what you're talking about. If they got a Surfside bucket, I'd be all in on that.
So when you go out, you're drinking Surfside. Is that your go-to?
Vodka Sprite usually.
Regular Sprite.
Yep.
And vodka.
Yep.
Well, that's like drinking a seltzer, except it's
pretty
carbonated sugary soda.
Yeah, pretty much. But no, that's my if I'm going somewhere, need to have in a can Surfside, right? For sure.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I know how many seltzer I can have with feeling like I feel good. I don't need any more. I don't feel
they sneak up.
they sneak up with you?
Oh, dude. Saturday was bad. I was hungover by 9:30 at night.
But you were drinking vodka, right?
I was drinking Surfsides.
Just Surfsides? Well, how many did you have?
12 during golf, and then
12. I drink 3.
Well, the whole point was to drink to get your score down. The more you drank, the lower. But then I was fine at the bar, got dropped off at home. Remember that? Next thing you know, I was out cold on the couch.
Dude, you drank 12 seltzers. What do you mean you were fine? No, you weren't.
I was standing upright.
So hold on a second. Is
this a low bar here?
Because I feel like when I drink light beer, I can't get drunk. You just kind of feel like shit and you can't drink anymore because you're like, what am I? I'm not wanting more of these, but you don't actually get wasted. That's like Surfsides? No, they hit me. They don't hit me hard, but I don't need to be drinking 5 or 6 of them.
I can drink 6, no problem. If you had
over 3 hours, I can drink 6, but I wouldn't do it because I wouldn't want to drink that many.
If I drank 6 during a round of golf, it's like I didn't even drink.
Oh, I see. I couldn't. 6 during a round of golf, dude. That's a lot.
I'd be sober. I'd still be sober.
Are you peeing in the woods, like 3, 4, 5 of the holes?
I think the back 9 there was a lot more. There was a lot more breaks. There was a lot more breaks on the back 9. It was not a pretty round of golf, so the drinking was a lot more fun.
Oh, I'm sure.
It was pouring rain the whole time. It was just
it was raining. So I don't remember. Yeah. I don't remember anything. It actually rained for like a week straight, didn't it?
It felt like it.
So we'll move on to the Eagles in a second. I brought Herb in the studio last week, and it was terrible.
I didn't get a chance to check it out. I completely forgot to go back to it.
Yeah. So he left early enough, but there was an accident on 95. So he's texting me, and I'm like, yeah, like he's probably not going to get here until right before the end of the show. And this was like he texted me at. I wanted him in at like 8:30 in the studio at like 8:30. He's texting me at 7 that there's something going on 95. So I'm like, oh man. So he got there, but then he was cold. So it's in person. There's cameras. He's never been there before. He's not on the phone where he's being Herb or on here being Herb. So now he's like, it takes him a couple minutes to get warmed up. And then I got to go because it's 45 and I'm supposed to be done close to the top of the hour. And he's terrible. Yeah, it's like, I still like you have to get a feel for him, and he's just like kind of rambling on about and so I'm trying to be like, I'm like, yeah, Herb, nobody cares. Nobody knows what you're talking about right now. And he's just like kind of slipped over so it ended up sucking, which I was disappointed because I had this whole thing we were gonna do. He was gonna come in, we were gonna start off with talk, and then I had this game we were gonna play, and meanwhile he just comes in and it was bad. So
he goes all Herb on you.
Yeah, but no, it took him a while to warm up. That's the problem. If he would have been talking about women or Brazil or whatever, but nothing. And like he's looking at himself in the camera, which so whatever. So that's that. All right, Delco Steve, I've been waiting all week. I didn't text you because I wanted to get your full raw emotion on a Wednesday. How you feeling about the Birds? I'd like to tell everybody. I wish I could tell everybody I was wrong, but my read on this team so far has been impeccably on. I sniffed out the Saints win. I sniffed out the loss. I picked them the loss. I'm 4-0 on my predictions on the Eagles this season. And now they go into the bye week, man. Anyway, go ahead.
I don't know. I guess I'm softening on it's Sirianni as much as anything, but it's like I still
now you're attacking Hurts.
No, it's like it's not even that it's Hurts. It's just like it's this vibe of this team is just shot. It feels like so. Like I'm going higher. I'm going to taking shots at my boy Howie again. It's because I don't know. I feel like this is like the mesh of this team is just not there anymore. Like I don't like obviously the core group of guys are from the end of last season are still here, minus a few key contributors. It's the same team. It's the same team.
It's hard to describe. I agree with you. Or it's hard to. I remember saying during last year, it was like pinch me. There's no flaws in this team. Remember when they were playing? They were finding ways to win games.
That Bills game, the Bills comeback last year.
Back, it was like pinch me. This quarterback is clutch. He comes back and wins all the time. He's a leader. The guys love him. Look at the GM. Look at the moves he's made. AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. Look how stacked this team is. And then once everything fell apart, man, it fell apart, and it hasn't been the same since. To go from that right there, 10-1, like we're the best organization in football. Screw the Chiefs. We should have won the Super Bowl the previous year.
Yep.
Now they're going to win this year. Best team in football. Like, this isn't an Eagles. That's not being an Eagle fan. I didn't grow up being an Eagle fan to where you didn't have any worries and everything was great.
Right.
Organization ever. That was never my team. And it's like, that's my team right now. No, it's not. No, it's not.
Here, let me pull that rug out.
Dude, here's the problem with Howie Roseman, Steve. They can't sustain it. 2017.
He's a great retooler.
Yeah, 2017, they win the Super Bowl. 2018, back in the playoffs, but things start to fall apart. 2019 was
the Seahawks.
That was the Seahawks game. So there's still playoff teams, but it's going backwards. And then 2020, it's over, right? So Super Bowl, and it's not like they had an aging roster, and that's why it was over. With this team, you could at least look at the roster and say, Jason Kelce retired, Fletcher retired.
The Super Bowl roster, they kind of had a bunch of one hitters that worked.
They had a couple mercenaries, but how he hit on every season.
Yep,
and he's not hitting on these same moves this year. Devin White's a waste of $3 million.
Oh, but
he's never going to contribute.
Yeah, he's just not even on the field.
Nope.
Nope.
Bringing back Slay seems like a mistake. Huff looks like it's just a total disaster.
Yep.
Everything now that he's done that we've had 4 weeks to look at hasn't worked. He can't sustain it. So now if they end up going, let's say 9 wins, 10 wins or whatever, and they don't advance far in the playoffs, then what do? You're bringing back Sirianni for another year. I got something, and I'm gonna go hard at this tomorrow on PHLY, Philly with John Marks, 8 a.m. on PHLY. But I'll do it right now. That Nick Sirianni, say what you want about him, and a lot of people have said a lot about him. He's had Jalen Hurts' back, and he hasn't wavered in that at all. Every time he's spoken publicly about him, I'll give him a 10 out of 10 without how he's had Jalen's back. All right? Like, if you ask the same question about the quarterback when asked about Nick Sirianni, out of 10, what number are you giving him for having his head coach's back?
He's going to throw him under the bus as fast as he can.
Yeah, even when he's knows he has to try to do it, he's not believable. Like talking about what was the question that he was asked about the character of the team or the direction of the team or whatever about the team, and he said that they have their moments, like when they talk about it. Well, I don't know, what does that mean? It was cryptic. In other words, Sure. You think think that we have meaningful conversations? I got to pull it up right now. Eagles, Tim McManus, Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni. The end of the Tim McManus story. Remember, Tim McManus came out in training camp, and I love the Eagle fanboys that are saying that was last year. Who cares? You don't worry about that. We're moving forward. What's like everybody stop worrying about last year, and it's like Tim's job is to bring to the fan and the viewer and the listener and everybody else why there was a historic collapse last year. How does that happen? It doesn't happen because of X's and O's, Delco Steve.
No, and it's like obviously this team right now has been hit with a lot of injuries. We know like the Eagles' record when Lane Johnson's not playing, yada. But that wasn't the case at the end of last year. We were pretty much healthy. And they just fell apart. It's I don't know. It's like
fell apart.
I feel like this team, like they just like don't have each other's back. Like if it's not all clicking on all cylinders, they're just gonna fold. Like that's what I see on the field.
The end of McManus's article says, though less frequent than when Sirianni was deeply involved in the offense, the interactions between Hurts and his head coach have been markedly more positive this offseason, team sources say. Quote, this is from a team source. Quote, do I think they will go to dinner together? Hell no. But it can be a good working relationship. I don't think it's hatred. It can be a good working professional relationship. And I don't think it's hatred. Will they go to dinner together? Hell no.
I think quarterback head coach relationship is probably one of the most critical parts of any team. It's like you think of all the teams that are like really good over the last few years. It's like there's connections that are there. It's like Andy Reid, Mahomes, Brady, Arians, Stafford, McVay. Like those teams have that like camaraderie because of those guys.
Do they put this out there because they want Jalen to try more? Because there was a point in training, like even in mini camps, he was being given easy questions to answer if he wanted to answer them correctly or properly, and he elected not to. Talking about Nick Sirianni. So I don't remember when this was put out there because it's all team sources. This information was given to Tim by the team. The team wanted this put out there. The spin is that last year the coach and the quarterback they had issues, they had problems, and they're working hard on it right now to fix it. And their relationship so far is much better than it was last year. But there was still a problem last year, and the Eagles were willing to put that out there. I don't know. I don't. To me, and Jalen Hurts maybe can stop turning the ball over as well, but everything's off. And it feels like you had said, Delcos, it's the same team as last year when they were 10-1, but there's something missing. You can feel it and you can sense it. And they're not going to the Super Bowl this year. Not like this. Not at this rate. Not with the chemistry that they have. Not with the it was a weird lack of urgency that they had against the Bucs. They were just kind of like, did they think they were just going to go down there and win? They got their ass kicked on that same field only 4 games before that? Like, give me a break. How do you go down there and look listless?
Well, apparently Jalen just can't play in Tampa. That's for damn sure.
Well, I wonder if he can play really at all anymore.
Well, it's like I'm not at full pass, but I'm close to it. Without Devontae, without AJ, it's obviously like as much as I want to say I love Johnny Wilson because he's a Florida State guy, but no, he ain't it. Dotson, like we talked about this last week, clear reason why Washington let him go for peanuts. I don't know. There's not a lot of skill position guys that are doing anything on this team right now. It's like on the offensive side of the ball and defensive side of the ball. It's just, it's like, I don't know.
First drive, Dallas Goedert drops was that the second drive? Dallas Goedert drops a gimme. It was on second down. First drive, I think it was the first play of the game. Jalen's rolling to his right. I watched Dan Orlovsky did a breakdown of the plays. He actually could have very easily had a completion there, but he didn't go to it. So he rolls out to the right. Saquon Barkley got behind the corners. Did you see this?
I saw the play in real time, but I didn't see the Orlovsky.
I gotta, because
Breakdown.
I on Monday morning I went back and I on my phone and I just go through every offensive play and doing it, being able to fast forward through everything. You can do it in no time, and you pick up on things like, all right, well, was there a blitz? Was he pressured? Was he hurried? He rolled out. He threw a duck up there that went out of bounds. Saquon is an easy touchdown if he makes a good throw there. At the very least, if Saquon has to stand there and catch it and he can't catch it on the run, it's a 30, 40-yard gain. So
yeah, well, what was it, the first series?
Little things like that change everything.
The first 3 series, I don't think Hurts threw the ball really inbounds that was completed. It's like everything was a duck or way out of bed, like launching it over people's heads. And like, I know you're not trying to avoid the turnovers. I get that, but it's like you also got to eventually try and give your guy a chance to make a play on the ball.
He is very average right now. Very average right now.
Did you see the
average?
Did you see the Hurts Mahomes stats comparisons that's been popping around?
Yeah, no, I just
it's just like what I'm saying was it's like everyone's like going like, oh well, this guy sucks and this guy's a god, right? It's like
right. I know what they're doing.
It's like I get that, but it's like, but the difference is this guy over here, he's still winning these games even though he's playing like shit with no offensive help at the moment. It's like, well, over here it's fumble, oh, fumble in a critical part of the game, and it just all goes to shit.
Yep. Yeah, this just everything going to shit is what it feels like it's doing right now. So Delco, Steve, here's what's going to happen. And I wonder if because over their next 4 games, they should easily be 3-1 in those games. Worst case, home against the Browns, so bye week this week, home against the Browns, 1 p.m. start. At the Giants, following Sunday, 1 p.m. start. At the Bengals, 4:25 on Sunday. So that will likely be, I don't know if it'll be Romo or Brady, but it'll most likely be one of those. And then you have the Jags on, I don't know if it's Sunday Night Football or Monday.
Sunday night.
Sunday Night Football the following week. So you'll be favored against the Browns. If you lose to the Giants, I won't watch the team anymore this year. Even if you lose to the Bengals and you beat the Jags, and Doug Peterson may not be the coach by the time you play them,
dude,
you should go 3-1 over your next 4 games. So they'll react negatively after the loss, but still that'll put you 2 games over 500. So you would be 4-2 after 6 games. That's not terrible. That's not terrible. And people will start talking themselves back into the Eagles are great. Jalen Hurts is great. We're going to the Super Bowl. Going 3-1 over the next 4 games doesn't mean squat, because guess what's going to happen? Cowboys, Commanders, Rams, Ravens are your next 4 games. All right. I don't know where the Rams will be at that point. Sean McVay's always done well against the Eagles. Cowboys have the Eagles number. The Commanders are going to win this division if the Cowboys and the Eagles don't look out.
They were plus 700 last week, and I couldn't bring myself to do it. Because, dude, it's like all these bets that smack me in the face that say like, "Oh, just do it," always are against the Eagles. It's like it's Bucks this week didn't wanted to bet it, didn't do it because I wanted my team to win. Last year, playoffs, same thing. It's like now I'm looking at this freaking long shot bet for the Commanders, and I'm like, God, if that was any other division, I would have done that.
Yep. No, I was looking at I wasn't looking at to bet it. I was on the Bet Parks app, and I'm being like, wow, like Washington's a really good value right now. People still don't buy them. Eagles are still favored to win the division, I believe.
They are.
Let me see. Yeah, they're still favored to win the division.
I mean, yeah, because everyone thinks that the Commanders are going to come back to earth. But guess what? If the division, even if they do, and the rest of the division still stinks, 9 wins still gives you a shot.
You'll have 2 teams with 9 wins and 1 team with 10, and that's who wins it. Yeah, and you don't watch yourself. You're going to let Washington win some early games here. I went through Washington's schedule. It's not difficult.
No, it's not. It's not at all. It's
all right. All right, here you go. Ready? And again, keep this in mind. Jaden Daniels is playing like an all-pro. He's playing
82% completion percentage.
Dude.
And he can run. He can run like Lamar, and he's throwing it like Breeze. Like,
but he doesn't run. He doesn't unless he wants to. He wants to throw the ball first, but he knows he's dangerous with his legs, so he uses it. Man, listen, I didn't know if he was gonna be this good, but I would have easily taken him over Caleb Williams. I didn't buy Caleb Williams.
We were talking about that before. We were saying we were hoping Washington would trade up for him and they get Caleb.
Yep. He would be so bad in Washington. Oh, it'd be the perfect place for him.
Oh, well,
Meanwhile,
and he's from there, so that was the whole idea. It's like, oh, go home and suck. That'd be fantastic.
Refuse to go to the Bears. Yes, refuse to go to the Bears. So Commanders home against the Browns, at the Ravens, home against the Panthers, home against the Bears. They'll be favored in 3 of those games. Ravens, of course, they won't be. At the Giants, home against the Steelers. Steelers may end up with 9 wins this year. With their quarterback play, whether it's Russell Wilson or Justin Fields, they're pretty much in every game. They're not blowing any teams out.
Yep.
Steelers.
And Tomlin's never going to have a losing season. So guaranteed 9 wins. Guaranteed 9 wins.
All right. Eagles at the Eagles. That's a Thursday night football. Ooh, that's a good one. Thursday night football in Philly. Following week at the Cowboys. Titans, Saints, Eagles, Falcons. And then Cowboys again. So not an easy schedule, but certainly not a.
There's some could be layups on there.
Yeah, the Bears will. Well, the way they're playing, quarterback. How about this? Quarterback play matters. The Eagles are 2-2 because of quarterback play, and I know their defense hasn't been great, but defense is pretty good against the Saints. Quarterback play hasn't been good. Can we just be honest about it? Quarterback play hasn't been good.
Agreed. Honestly, the defense was pretty good against the freaking Falcons too. 55 minutes was 55 minutes. That defense was fine.
It was that last drive.
And like I said after that game, if you're telling me my defense is giving up 22 points a game with this offense, I'm expecting to win 75% of those games. That's with the offense that we have. But it's just, I don't know, man. It's just the Bengals could dice us up in the next 4. If God forbid if Deshaun Watson comes in 2 weeks and dices us up, like that'll be.
I think that's going to be a 17-16 game. Lots of field goals.
I hope so. That's honestly best case scenario.
So if they come out and lose to Cleveland, Kevin Stefanski is a good coach. I think he's a 2-time coach of the year.
He is.
I don't think Deshaun Watson's ever really going to have it again. But that's a good defensive team. Eagles haven't shown that Todd Bowles kind of reopened the scab of blitz Jalen Hurts, because Hurts did well against the blitz in his first couple games, but Bowles made an adjustment. I don't know what it was, but they blitzed him a hell of a lot, and he's. I mean, I don't think he was seeing ghosts, but you can't hold the ball like that. The play that Devontae David, the strip sack, he was under pressure, and that wasn't his fault. He was able to wiggle out of it, which was very good. But then he held the ball in the pocket. You have to immediately leave the pocket, or you have to get rid of the ball. You can't come back and reset yourself. It's too much time, and that's what happens. He's just he's making a lot of brain dead plays. He's not protecting the football. He's not a good enough passer to do that. He can't live and die with his legs. And unfortunately, without his legs, he's not the same player. And he hasn't been, because you can't rely on that. You don't win in the league with that. When Jalen emerged in 2022 and was in the Super Bowl and had a great Super Bowl, that wasn't just because of his legs. He was throwing the ball really well.
He was dual threat. He was dual threat, for sure.
Man, he was stepping up in the pocket. He was confident in his throws. You don't see that anymore. You don't see that. This is a different quarterback. He needs to get his confidence back. God, it just makes me sick.
I feel like he hasn't shown any emotion since that Buffalo game. It's just been so monotone personality, demeanor, everything. And it's just I want you to play with that swagger that you used to have. Well, and you haven't seen it. You haven't seen it for the last 10 games.
No. No, that's the problem. It's been 10 years. This isn't just that there's 10 games. I don't care if some of it's over last season, some are over this season. He's been bad.
Can we get him back to when he was playing for a contract, not on a contract? Because
God, it's you're right, man. It's so. Oh man, it's just that rookie contract, and that's why you look at Daniels right now, and you're like, all right. I don't think they're winning the Super Bowl this year, but now they have 4 more years on a rookie contract. where they can go after. They need a wide receiver. I'd be very interested in getting Devontae Adams if I was Washington. Maybe they're not. Maybe they say, you know what? We'll get somebody as good in the open market or in the draft, and we'll really build it. Either way, all they have, they're going to go up. When you have a quarterback that young and that talented who plays as mature as he does on the field, God, man, it wasn't last week, but it was the primetime game against the Bengals. I don't know if it was a corner blitz, but there was a blitz, and he was unabated to the quarterback. And where were they? Like the 30-yard line. They were at the Bengals 30-yard line.
Oh, you're talking about at the end of the game?
To McLaurin. And he knew he was going to take the hit. He held it as long as he could, and he fired just a perfect pass. McLaurin made a really nice play on the ball, but it was a perfect throw. He did exactly what he was supposed to do. He knew he was going with it. He recognized the blitz. He stayed in as long as he could before he threw the ball. He wasn't affected by the blitz with the throw. He threw it and he threw a perfect pass.
Yep. That might have been the best throw I've ever seen. Like, no stakes throw, best throw I've seen in my life.
Yeah, he was going forward on fourth down multiple times, and he was throwing the ball, and everything seems to be going in regular speed for him, to where when you come into the league as a rookie, everything's supposed to be going so fast because everything's new and the speed of the game and everything else. And it's not like that with him. I mean, man, and I say this all the time for people that are looking ahead to drafting quarterbacks, and they're saying like, well, there's nobody that's coming out from the 2025 class. People say the same thing every year, and they're guys that come out. And Daniels is an example of that. No one thought he was going to look like this 2 years ago, right? At LSU. And look how he developed.
Burrow's the same way. Yep. It's like, and then you have the complete opposite. Like Rattler was going to be the number 1 pick. Where's he at now?
Sucks.
Like, Leinart was going to be a top 5 pick, and then he went back to school. What happened? Matt Barkley, first round pick, 4th round pick. Like, goes on and on and on. These guys, they come out of nowhere. Like they only need 1 year and 1 year of coaching in the right spot to have things click.
Right.
Burrow left Ohio State like to go to LSU because he couldn't make shit work at Ohio State.
And he was playing with studs on offense at LSU. It was a great move. A great move. They won a national championship, right? Yeah, they won a national championship that year.
Yeah, I think he threw like 55 touchdown passes or something.
He did throw 55. Yes, that is.
He threw like 20 to Chase and 19 to Jefferson. Darn!
Can you imagine that? You're playing against like Ole Miss with Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase as your wide receivers and Joe Burrow as your quarterback.
And back then with Clyde Edwards-Helaire was actually good.
Yeah, a good college running back. Yeah, probably an offensive line that's blowing the guys off the ball.
It's funny. It's funny. I was reading a thing about Jaden Daniels talking about how he probably had a better skill position group last year at LSU with Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr. than he does at Washington right now. And I'm like, that's probably not far off.
No, it's not. Well, anyway, so yeah, I'm not going to become a Commanders fan, but guess what? They're now at the party. They're here. When you get a quarterback, and everybody that hates Josh Harrison, I'm with you. All right. But he's a huge upgrade over Daniel Snyder. It's overrated the shit that he takes for how he runs the Sixers. You may not like him because he's a venture capitalist and he viewed the Sixers as a great investment, and that's all he cares about. And with the arena, the downtown arena, he's going to make a ton of money off that. I'm not telling you need to like Josh Harris, but let's not act like that he hasn't turned the 76ers into a professional franchise. Joel Embiid is a 76er. He won an MVP. I know they haven't made it out of the second round of the playoffs. I would say that Joshua Harris is last on the list of why the Sixers haven't made it to an Eastern Conference title
agreed.
Or an NBA title.
You think that guy doesn't want to win to increase the money in his pocket?
Of course he does. He's a billionaire. It's like it's a trophy for him. He can brag to his friends like, "Hey, I won an NBA title." But like, if you think that doesn't improve the Commanders, you're crazy. Daniel Snyder, they were never going to win with that maniac, absolute just piece of crap person, and everything's toxic from him down there. We're never going to win. Now they have a guy who is a successful businessman that allows his people to run his businesses. He's not making personnel decisions with the 76ers. You may not like Daryl Morey. I don't particularly like Daryl Morey. I think he's done a pretty good job with the Sixers. But Josh Harris allows his people to do it. So anyway, again, I don't even want to spend more time defending Josh Harris. I'm just saying, Commanders are pretty good.
They're going to be a problem for us for sure going forward.
How slow Jalen is right now. I've heard a lot of people say that, Tim, and I agree. That he definitely seems to have lost a step. I don't care. That shouldn't matter. His development as a quarterback is what mattered in 2022. Throwing the football, not the leg stuff. Like that he can be a weapon with that, and he can be dangerous with that. He needs to do that with his arm. He's not doing that.
And as soon as he's able to do it with his arm, it's going to open up those opportunities to get 5, 6, 7, 8 yards with his legs. It's like now they're just keying off on that, and he's just getting hit after hit after hit, and they're going to take a toll.
Whatever. It's too depressing to even think about.
If they lose to the Saints, where's this team at going into the bye?
If they lose both games,
if they lost the Saints game,
Sirianni might be fired. I'd be yelling to fire Sirianni. How about that?
Yep.
As Siri on my phone starts wanting to know what I'm asking, not Siri on the phone, Sirianni. I would be curious to see if he survived it. Shut up, Siri.
They better come out next week and be ready for the Browns. Then that's for sure.
I'm glad that you have. I'm glad that you've come around to realize that Sirianni isn't the reason. Well, I mean, he is, but
he's part of it.
Well, here's why he's the reason. For me, I think the guys roll their eyes at him.
I was about to say, I think the guys think he's a clown.
Yeah. I think the guys like him. I've never got the sense that they think he's a clown, because I think they like him and they respect him as a coach and as a guy that does the job and does the job hard and used to play football and all that stuff. I don't think the guys hate him. Maybe Jalen does. I don't think the guys hate him. But this is just my sense. I just think that they don't take him serious anymore. And you know what happens when the guys they're not going through the motions, and they don't even know that they're doing this. But if you don't believe in your coach, then you're kind of just like, oh, we're not win. Like they know they're not going to win. They don't feel like that he gives them the advantage. You can't have a coach that you feel like puts you at a disadvantage or isn't a smart football coach with a lot of these players. And if they're scratching their head, they're saying like, man, like what is this guy? And the Friday night speeches are now old to where he used to do stuff and guys would be like, this is interesting. Now he's showing up to the Friday night speech and these guys are rolling their eyes and are not engaged in it. And they just want them to shut up so they can go back to their room or they can go play video games or whatever. So that's my sense in.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I mean, I agree with that. I agree with his decision making is definitely part of the problem with like when and like we don't have to keep going over it, but it's like the when and how to go for it on fourth down. It's like
right.
It's like if that's gonna be your thing late in the game, like you gotta, or if you're gonna be going for it early in the game, you gotta be willing to go for it late in the game too. That's my stance on it. I'm gonna leave it at that. But it's just like it just doesn't seem he knows how to pick and choose the right like for game flow. It's just like I don't know.
No, you're right. The game there doesn't. It's I felt like this last year too. It's like you can't just call plays. Plays are supposed to set up other plays. You know what I mean? Like there's supposed to be a certain flow to an offensive game plan.
Yep.
And I think you saw this a lot with the Eagles last year. If you score on big plays, that's great. But if teams start defending you to where you're not going to score on big plays and you have problems driving down the field, 10 plays, 11 plays, 12 plays, 8 plays, or whatever, then what? I mean, I don't know.
I mean, that like back to the JDDs, that drive that you were talking about was a 7-minute drive to kill the game.
And throw a touchdown pass to kill the game. March down.
Like, you need to be able to put together those type of drives. It's just, and this team doesn't seem capable of putting 5 good plays together without a splash play making the drive succeed.
You know what it is? You know what it's like? You're Italian, Steve Gallo. Are you 100% Italian?
Nah, 50.
So your mom's not?
Nope.
Well, I guess not if your last name's Gallo. Wait, is your mom Irish?
Irish, Polish, German, Swiss, Austrian, English.
So a mix.
Yeah.
All right.
Something like that.
You get that a lot. A lot of times you get the Italian women that marry the Irish or the mutt men. But anyway.
Well, that's me now.
All right. So you know your family makes sauce, your dad makes sauce, your grandmother makes sauce,
Yep.
things like that. And they're not measuring stuff. They know how much goes in, how much it goes in. And they do the taste. And they said like missing something.
It needs this.
It needs this. Go boom, like a little bit more salt.
Yep.
Perfect. The Eagles are missing something. There's something missing. There's something going on. And we know it. And I don't know exactly what it is.
Not a single person knows what it is.
Yeah, well, you don't know what to add to it. You don't know exactly what to do with it, but you know it's missing something. So we'll watch the games, and they're not going to be a terrible team. They'll win some regular season games, but there's something missing.
I'm excited for the week off of being pissed off at them, and hopefully 2 Phillies wins Saturday and Sunday and an enjoyable red zone day.
Bill Colarulo, big star of the
What
Mike
up, Bill?
Missinelli show. Bill, good evening, buddy. How are you? Yeah, what am I like Sunday? I have, and I'm not even going pumpkin picking or anything like maybe some guys out there, but I think my daughter has a softball game, and then let me see here. Sunday. Yeah. So this is great. A lacrosse clinic in the morning for both kids, and then Gianna has a game in the afternoon.
What time's the game?
2:00.
All right. Well, you might get done before the Phillies game at least.
Yes. Well, that's the way I looked at it, which was great. But her doing a lacrosse clinic in the morning and then having a softball game, she's going to be totally cooked for the softball game, which is not good. Anyway. All right. Well, there you go. This is one of my favorite things that Michael Richmond's calling him Jalen Wentz, which is awesome. Where's the comment? Here it is. Say what about Carson? At least that dude had a cannon and can make unbelievable throws at times when he would decide to throw the ball. Yeah, but once he was done, he was done.
Yeah, I was never a Wentz guy from the jump street. I thought the year we went to the Super Bowl, I was like, I can't believe this dude's making me eat crow, and then he goes back to being exactly what I thought he was. So I don't know, but it's just, yeah. I mean, Wentz definitely had a better arm, but I'm starting to see very similarities to where Hurts looks defeated.
He does.
Like
he's not confident out there throwing the ball. I was out. I'll tell you the game that I was like, you know what? I think this guy sucks and we overrate him. It was the Browns game. What year would that have been? 2019.
For what?
Let me see. There was 2 games in particular that I remember where, and like I'm not just saying this. People were so mad at me for saying it, or was it even 2018? I just remember there was a Browns game where like a good quarterback would have come back and won that game. And I was like,
are we trashing Wentz or are we trashing Hurts?
Wentz.
Okay.
And I'm like, this guy sucks. And it's whoa. And then there was the Tennessee Titans game where they came out to a big lead and then they couldn't do anything. And it was that picket fence defense where the Titans needed 4th and forever. And they got the first down. And it's like, what are you doing? And the Titans ended up winning that game. For some reason, those 2 games stick out to me.
22-21, November 20, or 22-17 Browns, yes. November 20th, 2029.
Yep.
Yeah,
I think that was it.
7-0 at halftime, and they gave up a safety. Like, yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, yeah, I'm
3-6-1 at that point.
Yeah, I'm kind of like Darius Slay right now. I don't want to I just want him out of here. He's like he's still an okay player, but I'm just
is he?
I said he's okay. I'm making sure I'm not going over the top because that's what he wants, so he can fight with people or he can talk on social media or go on Michael Parsons' podcast. I don't care. Whatever. Let's finish this season up. Let's get a real leader in here. Let's get some Quinton Mitchell is going to be great. Let's get another corner in here. Let's draft another corner. We're fine. We need to rebuild this defense. I don't need him here anymore. I don't think he's a bad guy or anything like that. He's had a good career. It was a great trade by Howie. He was a good player I just want him out of here. That's how I feel about Slay right now.
I'm over the like, oh, you're old and like you're getting older. You're not as good as you used to be. It's fine. It happens. It's like if Jerry Rice went out and played the field, ran routes today, we'd all be talking shit on him right now because he's old and tired and whatever. It's like he's not going to turn around and be like, look at all my rings though, look at all my stats. It's like, no, it's just I don't care about your stats from years before. I'm talking about right now. You're not as good, and that your stats from before don't make you better now.
Yeah, that's the perfect way of saying it.
It's like just because you did all that stuff in the past doesn't mean you're that player at this current state in time.
All right. Well, last thing here, Delco Steve. Florida State. I haven't seen what's going on with Florida State, the Seminoles. Could you update me on how their season's going so far?
It's a total train wreck. Total train wreck.
SMU crushed them. SMU 42-16.
Yep.
I mean, poor Trey Thomas. You for some reason you love Florida State. Trey Thomas actually went there and is one of the best players ever to go there.
No, it's bad.
Imagine how he feels.
They barely beat Cal 2 weeks ago.
And Cal's pathetic.
Cal's so bad.
Lost to Memphis. So Florida State lost to Boston College, lost to Memphis, barely beat Cal 14-9, lost to SMU 42-16.
It's bad. It's bad.
Who's their coach? Mike Norvell?
Yep. Former Memphis head coach. So, think you would actually try and, have a good game plan against his old team. Nope.
But you know what the problem is? That DJ Ulalele guy, he stinks.
Oh my God, he's brutal.
Why would you ever bring him in? Have you ever watched the game where he's good? He's played. I swear to God, I probably watched him play 50 games, and he sucked in every game that he's played.
He's hit the amount of games that he started is like getting up because he's obviously on like a 5th year, whatever, because of all the kids that played during COVID got that extra season. But it's just like I remember him at Clemson and be like, "Oh, this kid's gonna be good." And then it's when he took over for Trevor Lawrence, it's like, no, he's not.
Then he has to play.
This is awesome. Like, this is like, they're going to suck. And then I was like, so when we got him from Oregon State this offseason, I'm like, okay, like, I watched a couple of his Oregon State games last year, like, the midnight Pac-12 games, whatever, because they're the only games that are on. And he actually looked better than he did at Clemson. I'm thinking Norvell's going to be able to make something out of him. Nope.
No, you didn't really think that.
Well, I
you were hoping.
I had myself talked into it, at least, because it's like I know they lost a ton of talent off of last year's team. It's like Fisk is a 2nd-round pick for the Rams. Burst was a 1st-round pick for the Rams. Coleman was the 2nd pick in the 2nd round for the Bills.
That's what makes what Nick Saban in Alabama and even Georgia now for that. What they can do if they do it year after year. Do you see that freshman wide receiver for Alabama in the Georgia game? He's the next great wide receiver in the NFL. Kid's 18 or 19 years old.
And the kid from Ohio State.
Oh my God.
What's he, 17?
Yes.
Like, come on, dude. Like, these guys are insane. But dude, Florida State's a total train wreck, man. The game that when I was at the Falcons game on Monday night, the Monday night game, we put a bet on Johnny Wilson to score a touchdown for shits and gigs, thinking like, oh, well, A.J. Brown's out of the game. Like, they're going to need a big body down in the end zone. They throw it to him, and he bricks it. I'm like,
yeah, sure did.
The guy next to me is like, why are you cheering so hard for Johnny Wilson? I'm like, oh, I'm just a Florida State fan, whatever. And he's like, you admit that to people right now? And I'm like, yes.
Yeah, you wear your emotions on your sleeve.
Yeah, like, I'm not gonna all of a sudden be like, no, like I'm not. Like they suck. Like I had myself convinced that they were gonna still make the playoff after week 1. Then week 2 happened, and I was like, oh, never mind.
No, poor Steve. All right, we'll end with this. Both of you calling
Gravy.
it sauce.
Gravy.
Yeah. You could do a whole show about it. I could do about 90 seconds on it. So I'll do it right now, Bill. I found out I was Italian not long ago. And ain't nobody calling spaghetti sauce gravy in my house. Never has there been anybody that does it. Never will there be anybody that does it. Had plenty of Italian friends. Some people, most of them saying gravy is fugazi. Others say they call it gravy when it's made with meat. Like
that's where I'm at.
Yeah, it's my buddy Guy Pascucci. His mom used to make gravy, and it would have the sausage and the meatballs and the pork and everything in there. And she called that gravy. And she explained to me that this is gravy, this isn't sauce. So don't worry about calling it sauce. And like, I had a ragu jar that I would put in the thing. So I didn't worry about calling it gravy.
No, if it's got meat in it, it's gravy. It doesn't have, that's how my family does it too.
Oh, there you go. See, for being a Mexican, I seem to know how things work. 2 Italians on that midday show on the Fanatic. I got to tell you, they sound like 2 Italians too. When I'm driving home from PHLY and listening to them. Coming up next, nobody. As we may go to an emergency podcast depending on what goes on with the Phillies. But Delco Steve,
they'd be off Monday or Tuesday, right?
I believe Game 3's Tuesday, but I don't know 100% sure. But I believe it's Tuesday. I don't know. We'll see. So there you go. All right. Well, Delco Steve, man, have a good weekend. Enjoy. Don't drink too many Surfsides or whatever you're going to do.
I think it's a weekend off for me. 2 weddings back to back the next 2 weekends. So we're going to rest up the liver.
Back-to-back wedding weekends. How many mixed drinks do you drink at a typical Delco wedding?
A lot.
So what's your strategy with tipping? Because not a lot of people carry cash anymore, but when you go to a wedding, you need to have cash for the tip. A lot of them have Venmo now, and I'll just shoot them with Venmo.
I have a strategy where I go in I pick one bartender, I hand them a 20, I go to that bartender the rest of the night, and they hook me up. They're
looking for you when they see you.
Yeah, and then if I'm coherent by the end of the night and I think they did a great job, I'll give them 10 more bucks. That's always the strategy. Because I definitely drink. Because I always drink more than $30 worth of alcohol, so I'm never worried about it.
That's a bargain for you. Yeah. And you're eating? Jeez.
Yep.
All right.
I've been a lot of wine weddings lately, though.
Have you?
Last wedding was all wine. I don't think I had anything else besides wine.
Oh, I wouldn't be attending that wedding if all you were involved.
No, I'm saying that's all I was drinking.
Oh,
yeah.
Why? You want a bad hangover the next day?
I was fine. Pretty fine.
All right. Well, enjoy the dry weekend.